And then there's Strategic, formerly called Securacom. Strategic also had a contract to do security at the World Trade Center. Securacom also had security contracts with Dulles International Airport and United Airlines. And remember, United had 2 planes crash on 9/11. And one of those planes came from Dulles. Now, an interesting note about Securacom is that from 1993 to 2000, one of its principal shareholders was a man by the name of Marvin Bush. Marvin Bush. Marvin Bush. Marvin Bush. The president's younger brother.
That's an interesting connection.
But not necessarily indicative of anything. It's 6 degrees of separation. Bush's younger brother doing security at the World Trade Center is something that needs to be seriously investigated! By that rationale, we could have known a guy who knew a guy who worked with a guy who stood in the same street corner as Jerome Hauer, and therefore we're guilty. We are saying it's guilt by association, which maybe we shouldn't do. You can't discount Kroll's connection to all of this! No, I can't. And I won't. Now, Kroll has been involved in a host of shady operations. In 1991, the Kuwaiti government hired Kroll to investigate Saddam Hussein's finances. In 2002, Kroll was given the massive responsibility of reorganizing Enron. Through 97 and 98, Kroll oversaw the elections of the Teamsters Union. And just following 9/11, Kroll was tapped by the LAPD to monitor all counterterrorism efforts in Los Angeles. Kroll really gets around. Kroll is tied to the FBI as well. The director of the FBI during Waco and the first World Trade Center bombing was a man by the name of William Sessions. Now, when he left the Bureau, he became a shareholder of Kroll. And the next FBI director was Louis Freeh. And Louis Freeh's top advisor at the Bureau was a guy named James Bucknam. Guess where he works now? He's a managing director of Kroll. Freeh is now a senior vice president at the MBNA Credit Card Corporation. His specific duties include personnel and security. Next to Enron, MBNA was the largest campaign contributor to George W. Bush in 2000. One of Freeh's deputy directors was James K. Kallstrom. The K. At the time of 9/11, Kallstrom was head of New York State's Office of Public Security. And he also works at MBNA with Louis Freeh. And both Freeh and Kallstrom are well-known friends of Jerome Hauer. Now, it has been rumored that MBNA was one of the companies heavily involved in pre-9/11 insider trading, which would have been investigated by the SEC in New York City, but all those records went down
in World Trade Center 7.